Hi everyone, Pao here, and this week's book of choice is Next Move, Best Move. If you're interested to know and understand the building blocks to build a successful career, this book is for you. So, as usual, I have my five key takeaways, starting with the first one: move with intentionality. Create a career rather than a string of experiences. So, the point of this lesson, this takeaway, is whenever you're at a decision point on whether to shift careers or to change jobs, rather than select a job that is right in front of you, you need to really understand what do you want 10 years, 5 years down the line, and understand whether that potential role that you're transferring to builds to a career path you envision yourself to be, right? So rather than simply selecting the first option that arises in front of you, it needs to be intentional in a sense that it builds towards, it moves you closer towards your 10-year, 5-year goal, right? So it's focusing on building a career versus simply jumping from one job to another without actually moving you closer to your end goal in mind. The second key takeaway is working backwards, asking yourself, where do you see yourself 5, 10 years from now, and work backward. So I'm very guilty of this, but after reading this book, it helped me really understand the importance of having a clear end goal in mind. At the same time, once you have that clear end goal in mind, it's a matter of putting the puzzle pieces together and working backwards. So one of the free templates as we provided in the book is the career progression template, right? The first one is really understanding what are your key strengths, right? So, for example, you're a banker, client management may be a key strength of yours. Key growth opportunities to the career path that you want to grow into or move into. What are the skill sets that you may lack that has a potential for you to develop further? Like, for example, presentation skills. The next one, of course, is whenever you shift to a role, maybe it be a job function or a new company, it needs to align to your ideal work environment. So, do you have a specific industry in mind? Flexible working hours, is that something valuable to you? And a great manager. So, you really need to define what is an ideal work environment for you. And the last few is the core values. Again, when choosing a company, when choosing a career, um, to ensure that you're happy and you're not dragging your feet to work, it needs to align to your core values, right? You need to take a step back and really understand what values are most important to you, and does the company, does the role, does the job reflect those values or align to those values. And the last one is 10-year career vision. Again, it's having that long term end goal in mind, and putting the puzzle pieces together in building a career, moving you closer to the 10-year horizon. So again, this is a cheat sheet template for you to better understand what are your strengths, what are you looking for in a company, what are your core values, and how can you actually build towards your 10-year roadmap. The next one is self-assessment to highlight transferable skills. So basically, there's also a need uh, to do an internal analysis, right? Like, what skills do you have? The most challenge, a lot of people challenge in terms of articulating this. So there's three key concepts you want to do in this exercise. One is you highlight your role that you're currently in, or role that you have done in the past, rather than focus only on the role and that accomplishments that are specific to that role. You need to also highlight the second key thing, which is what were the skills acquired during your tenure on your previous roles or your current role, right? And the last one is, of course, you need to identify what skills do you want to continue, do you want, you're strong at, and what are the skills that you may want to discontinue or that does not give you joy, happiness, right? So having a clear understanding on the roles you've done in the past, the skills you acquired there, and what are your core strengths that you should continue and double down on, and what are the weaknesses you perhaps may opt to discontinue, right? So by having a clear understanding here, in case you're interviewing for a job, right, you're able to highlight what are the transferable skills that you could easily take to and replicate and implement in the new role that you're applying or aspiring for. The last few is identify gaps, right? Get ready before you need to be ready. So, again, it's not about being or cramming preparation once the time arises, right? It's having that foresight, it's having that preparation, so that when the time comes that you actually, there's an actual opportunity in front of you, you'll be able and you'll be ready, right? So, the three key questions you should ask yourself is one, what are my gaps, right? So, what knowledge do I need to acquire that I do not have yet? Once I identify those key gaps, what experience do I need to cultivate? So, strategies here would be perhaps taking on a stretch role or taking on a bridge role that would help build your competency, your skill, and your confidence in preparation for the next goal, the next role that you want to transfer up to. The last one is what relationships do you want to build, right? So relationships are very important to help fast track your career. So you need to identify who are the coaches that you can tap into, who are the mentors who have actually experienced that role, who have done really well in that role, and can share their experiences with you. Who are the peers that you could talk to, share what's the experience in that role for you to get a better understanding if that's really the role or the career that you want to build, right? So these three things, what gaps, knowledge do you need to acquire? How can you do it? By building experiences, and who are the network and relationships you need to build over that span of time. And the last one is, knowing and understanding your personal brand. So one key tactic is really asking your colleagues about their experience in working with you. And this would give you a better understanding on other people's perception on your personal brand. The first one is, of course, asking them what's their experience like working with you, right? Second is, what should you do more in your role? What should you double down on? What do they think that you're doing really effectively and should do more of? And the third one is, what can you do less of in your role? So what are the, potentially bad experiences that they see in the role that you're doing? The fourth one is, if they were to introduce you to another person, what are the three adjectives that they would describe you, right? So this gives you a better perception of how they view you. And the last one, if you have a manager, asking that direct question on what do they want to see more of you for you to be eligible for promotion. So those are the 3 to 5 five key questions you can ask your colleagues to get a better understanding on your personal brand. So again, that's a quick summary of The Next Move, Best Move by Kimberly Cummings. Hope you learned a lot. If you like that book, I have tons of other summaries in YouTube. So you could simply go on YouTube, search Paolo Balinas, and look on the different summaries I've made. I do one summary every week, every Sunday. So stay tuned next Sunday for the next book. Thank you and have a great day.